Good evening, everyone. Tuesday, June 12th at 7:30, and this is the Raynham Board of Selectmen. The minutes, gentlemen, please.
I'll call the meeting to order. I make a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. No department, well, I'm gonna hold off on you, Ellen, for just a moment, please, if you wouldn't. And I'm gonna hold off on my we got Chili's Restaurant at 7:05. Okay, let's see, Mr. Tebow. I understand you're going to be the new manager at Chili's?
Yep.
Would you like to say a little something about yourself?
Well, I've been at Chili's for about 17 and a half years now. I've been managing multiple locations, Somerset, Wareham, Mass, and now Raynham. I was also in the Middletown, Rhode Island location for 10 years of my employment, so excited to be out in the area, learn what's new. I'm from the Dartmouth area, so I'm kind of new to out here and trying to figure my way around, and it seems like a great area, a lot of potential out this way, and looking forward to it.
Good, good. You like our store down there, our
Yeah.
Chili's down there?
I actually opened that restaurant in May of 2000, 12 years ago, so.
Really?
Yeah, I was in charge of the training team that opened it and developed all the employees and set the inside up, so.
So you came back home,
Yeah,
more or
coming back
less.
home
You
basically,
came
yeah.
back
It was
home.
one of the ones I worked in way back, so.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So I understand this hearing was just for a change of the manager, so gentlemen,
Motion to
any
approve.
questions or anything? No?
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Aye. Welcome back.
Thank you very much.
That should do it.
Thank you.
Is there anything that needs to be signed or anything, Randy? Got it right there? Okay,
That's all
good.
set. Fantastic, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Perry, perhaps you'd like to address the board?
Yes.
Good evening. Madam Chairman, if it's okay, I'd like to bring the board up to date on
Please do, sir.
recent events regarding mosquito
Please do.
arborvirus. I guess I would like to start off by saying that the State Department of Public Health has sent the community, not just Raynham, but all communities throughout the region, notice that, I guess as effective tomorrow, Raynham and some of its neighbors will be considered at a moderate risk for AAA, or the possibility of illness. West Nile virus is considered to be at low risk. And again, this becomes, I guess, effective tomorrow, even though we did receive the information today. As you know, the community, we've had this discussion before. We do tend to consider Raynham to be a high-risk community, but
Right.
technically the state has kicked off the season, I guess, considering Raynham to be at moderate risk. It does appear, as you know, the community, this board, the department, and your sister communities have been very active in the issue of EEE and the prevention of the spread of the illness in this region. It does appear, based on recent meetings that local public health has had with representatives of the State Department of Public Health, that the state is taking notice of the region's concerns. We had a webinar or type meeting last week with public health and the local communities, Raynham included. And as a matter of fact, on Monday, we had a meeting with two representatives of the State Department of Public Health, Kevin Cranston, who is the director of the Bureau of Infectious Disease, and Catherine Brown, who is the state public health veterinarian, met here in Raynham with representatives of local public health in the region: Bridgewater, Taunton, Raynham, Marion, Rochester, Lakeville, Norton. I hope I'm not forgetting anybody. I think there were about 9 communities in attendance. There are still about 12 communities, 11 health agents, as you know, that are part of that regional local health officers group. And if I could, I'd like to say, give you a little bit of an update of what I at least gleaned from that meeting. And I think ultimately it will be up to the State Department of Public Health, I think, to really give you the facts. But I did want to let you know that some highlights. The state has stated to us through the Department of Public Health that it is making steps to treat us in a type of a standardized type of a region. As you know, the Board of Health, the Board of Selectmen were very concerned, understandably, about the message that goes out to the public regarding the risk levels and whether bans should be placed on use of public lands and other lands. And the state has committed that they will look at it as a region, and there should be a standardized message, not for just one community, unless it really, the risk really is garnered just for one community. But they are addressing that concern, and they did state that they would also put forth, when the time is proper, I should say, some sort of a standardized message in writing, not only for this community, but for its neighbors as well, if needed. The state is also has committed to moving forward this season with local public health to conduct bi-weekly conference calls with local public health. We haven't really fully set out the schedule on that, but they have committed that they will update us at least minimum on a bi-weekly basis. If they have also committed that they will increase that if we feel the need to do so. My counterparts and I, understandably, have asked to be treated moving forward as, again, as partners with the state on this particular issue, but it's not just recipients of the information. The state has promised to update its websites and its links quickly and more frequently, so that not only local public health, but citizens of the communities, boards of health, boards of selectmen, can obtain that information if they need to in a quick link. We have also asked, and the state is committed to, reaching out to the farming community in the region. We feel that we want to work locally with organic farmers, work with farmers who may have different types of exotic pets, because as you know, the Board of Health did agree that the horse as an indicator for the risk for disease transmission to humans has really become outdated, and the state has heard that, and they have recognized that's the way I understand this. And so in turn they will be using animals as a stronger indicator now when assessing high risk to humans and critical risk to humans. For example, the state has, in a typical year, Raynham is a perfect example, why not use it? Last year, as you know, we had 2 people associated with the town contract the disease. 1 death, one a citizen from out of state. And that's when we were labeled as critical. Well, that is now going to change where it's our understanding that animals will now be more of an indicator of high risk and critical risk. I think that the state is committed that even an animal now will be used as an indicator, at least for high risk. So that is an improvement, I think, upon as far as how we're able to assess the risk to the population at large. They have lowered the threshold for, or at least they're stating they are. I don't think this is set in stone yet, but this is the proposal, because the so-called expert panel that was convened to discuss this matter did make some recommendations. It's our understanding that the state's going to adopt them, and there is a commitment from the state to now assess the need for aerial spraying at high risk, not at critical.
Oh.
So there is a little bit of a lowering of the threshold, and again, I don't want to speak on behalf of the state, that's not my place, but to inform you, that's the way that that's what I'm garnering from that now, is that there is at least a lower threshold to assess it. It doesn't mean they're committing to the aerial spraying. They've also committed to a focal area that they wouldn't necessarily want if they were to go to a level where they were going to conduct an aerial spraying. They are thinking more of a focal area, and that was something I know this board was concerned about, and I think your partners were concerned about, and that's understandable. We wanted to assess where the risk was, and let's target it, and everybody could understand there was no need to waste resources. So that was, I think, something that they were in agreement on. They also are going to make an attempt to trap mosquito pools and check the results twice weekly. The traps now are checked once per week during the season, and I think that the testing will begin shortly. There is no results as of yet, but I believe there's probably within the following week they should start trapping mosquitoes. But there is a commitment to try to trap twice as much. I do feel, and I'm speaking for myself on behalf of the town of Raynham, I do feel that the state has made an attempt to address our concerns at the local level. You recall back in November, your town of Raynham, amongst its partners, sent a letter to the State Department of Public Health. It was a 10-bulletin type of a letter asking the state to address these concerns. We do feel, myself included, that the state has made an attempt to address the concerns of local public health. I don't know what the future holds, but they have at least answered questions on that. One of the negatives that, and I like to talk about the positives and the negatives, but one of the negatives is that at the expert panel that was convened did not include a member of our group. It did not include local public health, and I think we had hoped. We were maybe a little dismayed and a little disappointed that our group was not involved with the ongoing efforts of that committee. We were allowed to speak, but we weren't necessarily represented on that committee. But to that point, that was brought up in discussion amongst one of my counterparts in another community did ask that question, and the state did recognize that, and they have promised moving forward that, again, we will be working as partners in this matter to try to resolve these issues. I think that's kind of it in a nutshell. I really have a lot, probably more to say than that, but again, I don't want to be a spokesperson for the DPH, but I did want you to be aware of where at least it sort of stood at this particular time. I do want to thank, not only for myself, but also my partners in southeastern Massachusetts, my counterparts. I really do want to thank this board, because this board has been such a tremendous catalyst on this issue. You really have. And I know, going back to last season, Mr. Pacheco being the chairman of the board at that particular time, I know he was straddled with a lot, and he really, really came to the plate for local public health. And so I really can't say that enough, that Raynham was a big catalyst. And we'd also like to thank your reps, too, in the area for everything that they have tried to do for this area on this issue. Again, I don't know what the future holds, but I do want to say that it's a step in the right direction. I think we've made some headway on the way we deal with Tripoli and West Nile virus and other arbovirus types of diseases in this area. I do think that they have at least answered our questions, and there is improvement in the proposed protocol. And
So
again,
you feel it was productive?
I do. Oh, I do. I do feel it was productive, I can tell you that.
And this core group that you have together now, you will stay together as a group?
As of right now, we are together as a group, and just as a reminder, we're sort of a loose group. We're not really a government body.
No, I know that, but I mean, you
but-
will, be staying
Yes.
together
Yes,
as a group to try to,
I think so. I certainly know that Raynham and a lot of its partners are really committed. I can't speak of everybody, but this really is public health, as you know. This is an issue that we deal with continuously. I've been your health agent now for going on 13 years. I think I forget how long you've all been on the board. I know Mr. Chavo is new, but I mean, this is something that, as you know, we deal with year after year after year, and this is something that's really a priority, certainly to me, and I know to the board. And I don't want to speak for my counterparts, but I believe so. I believe we're really committed. When we got together, as you know, it was really unprecedented. Maybe to the general public they might not understand, but for someone like me who's been in local public health for a long time, it was really kind of historical in a way that how everybody really got together in this region so quickly and really came, together. We were like-minded and felt the need that this was really in the forefront and really important in this region. So,
well, that's why I wouldn't want to see
Yeah.
them all disperse and say, well, okay, we did all we can do, there's nothing more we can do,
Right.
because there's always something more that you can do.
Right.
And if you stay on top of it, with the state and all, we may be able to get what we ultimately would like.
I think you're right. I think it's evolving. I think that, I think maybe even the state would agree that these set of protocols may be tweaked as we move along. It probably is an evolving document. But yeah, to your question, I would be surprised if we didn't. I think it's just that much important to this region.
Any questions for?
Thank you. Not so much questions. Alan and I have spoken. I appreciate Alan's presence
Oh,
in Boston
absolutely.
on the town's behalf. As Alan said, I was greatly involved in this topic last year, fielding a number of questions, not just from Raynham residents, but throughout southeastern Massachusetts. And I still find it a difficult topic, and I still have my concerns with the performance of DPH as a whole in terms of communication, in terms of their respect of and cooperation with local government on Raynham. I can still recall last year I was notified of the second case that occurred in Raynham by the media before DPH. And so while, as Alan said, we are making some progress and moving forward, I think significant pressure still has to be put on DPH for them to recognize the need to notify the local communities, specifically places like Raynham that in the past, and I would imagine in the future will continue to be hotbeds for this terrible disease. And so while it is progress, I think that it behooves this board and Mr. Perry to stay on DPH and let them know that we have not forgot about this issue. My hope is that we have no cases this year, but that might be too optimistic. But DPH has a responsibility to us to notify us, to work with us, to use us as a partner and not as a stepping stone. I hope the commissioner over the past year has opened his eyes a bit and recognized that we are not going to sit back and just agree with any of his comments, and that we expect timely and frequent communications from that department, and we won't accept anything less than that. And any progress by TPH should not come as comfort to the town or anywhere else, because they still have to do their part, and that's take the everyday precautions of using deep bug repellent, of making sure there's no standing water. And those cannot be replaced by any piece of policy that DPH, or this board for that matter, makes. And so those would be my only comments. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. I would certainly echo Mr. Pacheco's comments. And I would also ask, Ellen, how many communities in the area are part of this group that have banded together?
There are 12 communities.
12 communities?
If you like, I can tell you the
No,
communities.
My impression is that a lot of the progress is a result of the banding of these communities, so that the voice is that much stronger. And so my question would be, going forward, what suggestions you might have back to us regarding how we might further support the activities of that group. Since that group is so important in making a positive impression and impact on the Department of Public Health, I'd like to know what we might do going forward to strengthen it.
I think time will tell. I think that the endorsement of this board, again, like I said in the outset, that you've been a huge catalyst of this. I think that the respect for this community was evident because the other communities decided to. They didn't have to. This was, my counterparts in other communities came in and said, I've been through it this year. Middleborough's been through it this year, and other communities been through it the other year, and they really, I have to say, really came to Raynham's support on the issue, and I think that that shows right there that the respect and the understanding of the communities and the commiseration, so to speak, was there. And I think that time will tell how we go. I think we'll go into this arbovirus season. We'll see how we are reliant on the state and our local mosquito control districts to really kind of now take it to the next level to let us know where we may stand as far as risk of the disease. And I think that your continued support for the region and the voices that you have here, you know, just off the top of my head, I think is probably the best thing as of right now. And again, I think Raynham's been a leader in this region. I can't, there's no doubt. And I would just have to say, just your continued support of this issue, you could support of public health, I think would just go a long way. But I think it's going to evolve, and I
Well,
can
I
get
think
back
the
to you,
best
and I'd
we
be
can-
glad to get back to you. I'm
The
sorry.
best we can do is just to stay right on top of
I
it, as
think,
we
I
have in
think
the
so.
past,
Yeah.
and just keep bringing it forward every single time, bringing it forward in our public forum.
And again, and only time will tell what happens this season. And again, I think I've always feel comfortable be able to come to the board and let you know what's
Absolutely.
happening. And
Absolutely.
at that particular time, you may have some ideas.
I was pleased to read in the newspaper where the Bristol County has gone into the schools to talk about, you know, Tripoli and other different types of things that can be carried by mosquitoes,
Right.
and teaching the children how to take care of themselves and to protect themselves and all. It was great that they did that. And that's another preventative measure as far as I'm concerned, when you're teaching the young ones. Remember, you've got to do this, that, and so, and as they get older, it will, you know, remain,
You're right.
stick in them.
You're right, and to that point, I think Mr. Pacheco was talking about earlier, really personal protection still
Yes.
is. We're not
It's still the
advo-
bottom line,
That's right.
you know?
That's right. No matter what happens, no matter
Yeah.
whether we have
You
the
can
type of
spray,
spraying
you
or-
can do anything you want, but you still have to maintain your own
Yeah.
personal protection.
Yeah, we would never want to give a false sense of security.
No,
But we talk about
absolutely.
the extra tools that
Yeah,
we have that we should
yeah,
use, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but yeah, you're
That
right.
comes first. Take care of yourself and know how to protect yourself. And we can only, you, the state, the town can only do whatever it can. It's not going to, you know, solve the problem, because
Right.
there's a lot of mosquitoes out there, and a lot of them can get away. How about standing puddles of water, different places? Have they given you the designations of the areas in Raynham that have these standing waters? Because remember last time we had asked many times, they say there's 11 different places. Well, where are they?
Yeah, and
You still don't get
The
that?
answer is no, I don't. No.
Okay. Well, I kind of tell everybody, if you see a puddle of water in your backyard, fill it in, clean it up. Conservation, of course, would not like that, I
Ye-
suppose, in some respects. But check with Conservation
Yep.
and see if there's a puddle of water that you can fill in your backyard.
You're right, and I'm glad you brought that up, because, you know, unused pools,
Yeah.
pools that are not being used, stagnant pools, whether above ground or underground, absolutely.
That's
There are
right.
things that you can do, some, you know, relatively inexpensive things that you can do, even if you can't drain a pool and you're not using it, things called like mosquito dunk type things that you can put in to sort of chlorinate. Little things like that could help.
Right.
But you're absolutely right, removing standing water, same message, properly fitting screens without holes on your home, on your windows. Yeah, absolutely, yeah, personal protection.
And the more everybody does, the better it's going to be for the whole, you know?
You're
You've
right,
got a puddle in
yeah.
your backyard and a pool, like you say, especially those little kiddie pools that are just sitting out all the time and nobody's using them.
Right, yeah, it's amazing how quickly they can,
Yeah,
mosquitoes
breed
will breed. yeah.
mosquitoes, right.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Alan,
Alan.
very, very much. We
Okay, you're very
appreciate it.
welcome. Okay, you're welcome.
Okay, let's see. We do have a couple of appointments this evening. I think they're in here. Are they in here, Randy?
Isn't there an application for a constable?
We have an application for a constable. We have the appointment of
Recommendation from the constable?
Conservation Commission. And we have, let's see. Oh, that's something different. I don't want to read that. Okay. Raynham Conservation Commission, that's the first appointment. They are requesting that we appoint Kevin Marrera. How does he pronounce? Marrera of 239 Hall Street to the Raynham Conservation Commission.
I make a motion that we accept that.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That's Conservation. Town Council. we're going to appoint
Yes.
Mr. Antine to the town
I'll
council.
make a motion that we extend his term for one more year with the.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And we have a constable.
Mhm.
And if I could find his name, I will be happy.
Ian Daly.
Yes, Ian Daly.
Here it is. Ian Daly, and he is all done, checked out with everybody, Randy, all set
It's a reappointment.
for reappointment.
Yes, I'll make a motion that we reappoint Mr. Daly.
Second.
All in
All in
favor?
Aye.
Aye. That takes care of that. Public hearing we have done. New business. An order of taking on the drainage project. Want to find that for me, please? You'd be faster than I.
Randy, everything's all in order, it's just a formality, correct?
Yes,
Yeah.
town
Yeah.
council prepared.
This is the permanent drainage easement for Pleasant Street, Oak Street, and Center Street. And all the papers are in order, so it just needs a motion.
I'll make that motion to accept that.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. That takes care of that. Randy, we're ready for your report.
First up, I guess, is contracts. I'm recommending the board vote to sign the following contracts and agreements. We're switching from Mega to Maya for our workers' compensation insurance this year after a bid process, so that's one. Aqua Barriers, the board already voted to award it, and I'm asking the board to just to sign the contract. Innovative Municipal Products for Magnesium Chloride De-icing Products. That's a surcharge bid. And the agreement with the Raynham Public Library, and that's just a very simple agreement. They'll provide us with some financial reporting, and we'll provide them with the budget that was voted by town meeting, so.
We'll need a motion on all of those.
Approve the memorandum of understanding with the public library and with regard to the MIIA, Aquavaria, Innovative Municipal Products as
Second.
well. We make a motion to approve all of those.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Approved.
I spoke with the chief today. He and his committee are working diligently to finalize the specs for the new fire engine pumper that was approved town meeting, and that's to be ordered before July 1 for cost reasons and for delivery next May or June. It takes almost a year to build it once it's ordered. Raynham Wine and Liquors has applied for a change or new officers, directors, and it does require a hearing, so 2 weeks. Should I set that up for 2 weeks, or? Okay. And also with Peddler's Loft, they have submitted a prospective Sunday brunch menu that the board requested, along with a new request for the Sunday morning openings. That would be 10 a.m. instead of noon time. And that would also be a hearing.
Okay.
Where's that menu?
It's over
Oh, is it
right
over there?
here.
They do have a menu?
Yeah.
They do have a menu.
Do you want to sign up for the 2 weeks out?
Another 2 weeks,
I'll second that.
the 26th?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So besides those 2 hearings at the next Selectmen's meeting, we do have the annual appointments, and we have the dedication of the town report. I spoke with Mr. Cabral, and he will be in with his family. This week, I have department head meeting on Thursday, the 14th. We also have a North School ad hoc committee meeting on Thursday to discuss the RFP, see if we can lease that out to a private entity. And we have negotiations coming up with highway, sewer, and police. That's all I have for tonight.
Any questions for Randy?
Thank you, Randy.
Thank you very much, Randy. Selectmen's report, does anyone have anything? Okay. Correspondence, let's see what we have in correspondence. The Town of Norton Board of Selectmen invites us as an immediate abutter to the city of Taunton, to attend a meeting to be held on June 20th at 7 PM at the Norton Public Library, 68 East Main Street. Potential development in Taunton of a $500 million complex consisting of casino, 300 hotel rooms, shops, and restaurants will have an impact on all our communities. The Norton Board of Selectmen believes we should be proactive in our planning to assure that we are included in any plans concerning this development. I completely concur, so therefore, what are you going to say? You had your mouth open. What were you going to say?
I would certainly encourage anybody to attend who's looking for answers, but one thing I will say, and I've said this before, is the legislation that legalized Class 3 gaming in Massachusetts has clauses in it insofar as being able to protect contiguous communities. And so the amount of concerns communities have had in the past are to an extent reduced as a result of that legislation. And so I think we have to see how the negotiations progress between the governor and the tribe, because that's going to be what's going to determine how communities such as Raynham are going to be assisted in the process.
Exactly.
So.
I think we should thank Norton for their letter and make it available should anyone wish to participate. Randy, I see there are two policies that are here. Are these up for a vote, or is it just for?
I need a vote by our next meeting, so they.
Okay,
it's
so will you
taking
gentlemen
place.
please review the, I'm sorry, what were you going
Oh,
to say?
no, I looked at
Okay.
it, it looked fine, but if the board.
If you want to take an opportunity to review these both, Mr. Chavo?
They look fine to me, the anti-discrimination, the family and medical leave policies.
So you wish to vote on them
Yes,
tonight?
yes, I would.
Okay, that's
Second.
fine.
Yep. All of it, yeah, good.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
That's good for you. To the Board of Selectmen of the Town of Raynham, today, May 29th, 2012, a vote was taken by the officers, the P&J Management, on the decision to request an extension for the liquor license. This extension would allow the sale of alcoholic beverages starting at 10 a.m. on Sundays. The vote was approved. Thank you for your time addressing this as Peddler's Loft, and we've already done that. I should have read the bottom before I read the top. Sorry about that. And this is from Senator Pacheco, writing to inform you of an upcoming community briefing with the Massachusetts Department of Public Health on EEE. Okay. Commissioner John Arbeck from the Massachusetts Department of Public Health on Thursday, June 14th, 7:30 to 9:30 at the Raynham Middle School Auditorium. We have done this before, and this is just a repeat performance. But if anybody wishes to go to the middle school on June 14th, please do so. And this will be, the state will have their panel there, and we can discuss this. And it's probably good to get this started really early. So that's open. Okay, did we take the other one out first before we bring in somebody else in, or what are we doing here?
No, there's nothing in writing.
Nothing in writing?
Our animal control officer has left, and so we have a town resident who happens to be the animal control officer in East Bridgewater, who's willing to do it on an interim basis until we find a replacement for Fred. And Fred did a great job in the 4 or 5. Time goes by so fast.
Let's wait till we
Right.
get a resignation.
Don't you think we ought to get a resignation first? Maybe should? Okay. And, well, this is from the Greater Attleboro Taunton Regional Transit Authority. And this is an attached letter. I don't have an attached letter here, Randy. What'd you do with it?
Madam Chair, it's just
Yeah,
a-
go
it's
right
just
ahead.
a budget advisory that they're attempting to get some more funds from the Commonwealth and keeping us in the loop.
Okay. You must have got this somewhere else. Fire activity report for the month of May. Well, let's see, we've had 12 ambulance calls given and 3 ambulance calls received, 2 fire given and 4 fire received, for a total of 21. As of 5/31/2011, we had 941 incidences, and on 5/31/2012, we had 1,067. That is a huge jump, huge jump. But that's fine. And of course, you got your invitation to go to the middle school. Tag days. Oh, I love the way they read. Okay, this is for the Morning Star Ministries in Taunton. Date requested June 14th and July 12th, and the 14th and 21st, and July 12th and 19th. Larry Ram Adams Kidney Transplant Fund. They were requesting June 18th, 20th, July 2nd, 18th, and August 1st for a fundraiser. Did they say that where they were going to be?
No, other than-
No. I would imagine that all the stores.
This
But-
next one, you might get a kick out of,
This is a little different.
but,
The New Life Church of Florida, from Tampa, Florida?
not exactly a local group.
Really?
They hear about us, they must have heard about our Walmart.
Madam Chair, I wouldn't mind, based on the motion, approving the first two, but I think we're getting to the point now that we have to start recognizing that our residents deserve some type of
Yeah.
seclusion.
So, yeah, I would think.
I'll make that motion.
So let's do it this way.
First,
we- How about we approve the first two?
yeah,
Second.
add that.
All in favor?
Aye.
And hold this in abeyance until such time as our residents have done theirs. That seems to be it for this evening. We have no press time since the press decided to leave. Emergency business, we have none. No citizens here to input anything. What say you?
I make a motion, we adjourn the meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.